The world's largest online video sharing site, YouTube, is celebrating its 7th birthday this year, with a whopping 72 hours of new footage uploaded to the site every minute. YouTube remains a firm favourite amongst the digital community. In studio with me today to talk about the success of YouTube and what it means in the South African context is Luke McKend, Country Manager, Google South Africa. Luke, welcome.
Thank you.
Take us on a bit of a journey. Where has YouTube come from since it was established in 2005?
YouTube is one of those very interesting tech companies that actually was started in a garage. In 2005, a couple of people decided that what they'd like to do is share videos, mostly things that they made themselves. And they found there was no platform to do that. Since then, it's grown to a platform where there are 800 million people watching YouTube videos across the world, across the globe. And that's an incredible number. I think, just testament to how powerful the medium of video really is.
And another testament is the fact that Google bought it over a year later in 2006. Surely you guys must have seen a gold mine ready to happen.
Well, I think it's been pretty clear that video has been incredibly engaging and that users absolutely love to share. Now, if you take those two things in context, well, it seemed clear from a Google point of view that would be a property that we'd really like to be involved in.
Now, we've heard the term Google it, and these days, check it out on YouTube is not far from there. Why do you think there's been such a rise in the popularity of online portals such as YouTube?
Well, I think it's given everybody the opportunity to find an audience for whatever you are interested in. Whether you're President Obama, who's trying to speak to the entire US nation, or whether you're perhaps taking footage of your child's first steps. There is actually an audience for all of that. And YouTube has been a platform that's basically enabled people to find that audience, regardless of where you are and who you are. And that's incredibly powerful.
Now let's look at the traditional broadcasting industry. Some people would say that television is under threat because of the fact that people can now simply upload a clip and people see it worldwide. I'm just thinking of the Syrian uprisings, what we saw happening in Egypt. Is traditional broadcasters, are they in trouble? Is this the future of television?
I think what's really interesting is that traditional broadcasting has had to adapt to the immediacy with which your ordinary citizen can actually upload video. The Syrian uprising, fantastic example, what happened in Egypt, for instance, but also if you look at what happened with natural disasters, for instance, in Japan earlier this year. A lot of the original footage that was uploaded by people using their cameras on their phones. And what that's meant is that traditional broadcasts have to respond very, very quickly to changing circumstances. So I wouldn't say they're necessarily in trouble, but it certainly meant they've had to adapt to the fact that people are able to upload right where they are when things are actually happening, and that's great change.
Let's bring it back to the South African context. How has YouTube grown and what is it offering the South African market?
Well, YouTube's only been around in South Africa officially since 2010. And what we've seen in the last year is phenomenal growth, both from the point of view of usage, where we've had about 190% more viewers over the course of 2010 to 2011. But we've also seen video uploads increase dramatically by about 120%. So on both sides of the equation, we're seeing huge growth.
Now, YouTube is a business, and Google is in the business of making money as well. What sort of revenue opportunities from a company's perspective for yourself, but also for the average South African, what opportunities are there associated with YouTube?
We've seen some incredible successes of businesses actually launching on YouTube and creating a business from scratch. In the United States, for instance, there's a company that's created an entire new toothbrush industry just by virtue of their YouTube videos. But in South Africa, we have our own successes. We have everything from a company called Six Pack Factory, who has found a global audience for their fitness videos. But there's everything from music to education to, I suppose, just your average user uploading their content. And if you think about the kind of things that have gone absolutely viral, the Buck Norris, so-called Buck Norris video, the mountain biker being hit by a buck, achieved something like 12 million views, and that was a South African video. So there's opportunity for businesses who want to find a global audience for their content, but there's also an opportunity for people who want to be entertained. And whether it's surreptitious, like the mountain biker, or whether it's something that you actually produce with high production values, there is absolutely an audience for that in South Africa.
But it's become quite a platform of debate. I'm thinking of the recent Nando's ad. that is not being broadcast on traditional broadcasting platforms, but through opportunities such as YouTube. Do you see it as that platform to give people the freedom to express themselves without worrying about the constraints of traditional broadcasting and the BCCSA?
But I think one of the things that's possible is also not only the ability to upload whatever you'd like to upload within certain constraints, of course, but to comment on that. And it's always been a platform that's enabled people to express their likes or dislikes very freely. And from that point of view, it's proved to be a fantastic platform for debate. We've actually seen formal debate take place there as well. So you've seen a lot of the traditional political debate in the US actually migrate to online forums such as YouTube. And that's been incredibly interesting because it's enabled those politicians to reach an audience that perhaps they wouldn't be able to reach through traditional television, and perhaps a younger and a different audience. And that's important, I think, to broaden and deepen the kind of debates that we need to have, whether you're in the US or in South Africa.
But when you have an online sharing site, there is the risk of the upload of content that is perhaps not suitable for all ages or for sensitive viewers. As a company, how do you manage and filter through those types of content?
You can imagine there's an enormous amount of content being uploaded to YouTube pretty much every second of every day. So that's a huge task, and there's two primary ways. Firstly, we rely very heavily on the YouTube community to actually flag content that is inappropriate. And that works incredibly well. The moment that something is flagged, we're able to review it and to take it down if necessary. The other part of that is automated. So there are a number of very sophisticated systems that are actually able to identify the types of content that are being uploaded. And in the instance of, for instance, something that might be considered pornographic, we're able to identify that and remove it before it actually gets flagged. And of course, between both of those, we hope that that provides the kind of protection that's required for all types of users.
Look, before we go, 30 seconds left, what is the future of YouTube specifically in South Africa?
If you think about how people are accessing the internet in South Africa, it's primarily mobile. And that growth is going to be mobile. I suspect that YouTube's future in South Africa is going to be about the device, and it's going to be about the phone in your pocket.